Okay, guys, so this is Star Week. You guys will be taking your star. Most of you will be taking your star on Thursday. I did reach out to some of you because you are taking the English 1 star tomorrow. If you are taking the English 1 star tomorrow, these strategies that I'm going to teach you today will still help you. And I'm also offering a EOC test prep on Monday and on Wednesday in the afternoon if you guys need help with that. What's up?
I'm good.
Oh, okay. And then, the EOC. So first things first is I sent out an email letting you guys know what room numbers you're going to be in, but I've also posted them in each of your courses and it is alphabetical. Just find your room number tomorrow or on Thursday when you get here. You will just go straight to that room. Those of you that are taking the test tomorrow, I also sent you your room numbers for that as well. Okay, so if you have any questions, please ask me. I'm more than happy to help. Today, we're gonna just kind of be going really quick through things because I do want to make sure that you get the strategies that you need. So I think you guys are ready for it. What do you guys have to make before I forget that? 3775. Okay. What's the highest score you can get on your writing? Y'all remember? 1. No, a 4. But there's 2 raters. So the highest score you can get is an 8. Okay, can you pass the star if you don't do well on the writing? No. Okay, now I have videos for the strategies that I'm going to show you today, but I'm going to go ahead and just teach it to you straight out because that'll just be easier. The thing that you need to know about the star is that it's boring beyond measure. It's boring and it's long. And so I have actually found that there are certain test strategies that you can utilize that will make it so much easier for you, okay? So I want you first to know the star layout. So there's 3 multiple choice categories: revising, editing, and reading. There'll always only be 4 options to choose from. Are you guys looking? Because I see a lot of looking at Chromes, and this is a state mandated test that you need to graduate. So I would suggest pay attention because the strategies I'm going to actually teach you today will pretty much help you on any test that you ever take that's multiple choice, okay? So there's also the writing portion. This is what it's going to look like, okay? There's always going to be a text first and then the questions, okay? So the reading section is a little different though, because then you're going to have 2 texts and then a set of questions. Okay, normally the set of questions there's only about 5-ish, okay? So, but there's always going to be the text first. And I want you to throw some of the strategies that you've learned in the past kind of out the window and just really rely on what I'm about to teach you, okay? So here's the other thing. There's always going to be instructions, and the instructions are always going to let you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So it'll tell you, it's always going to say choose the best answer because duh, right? But see, it says revisions, right? And then it says when you finish reading, answer the following questions because you're going to be editing, and then you have the reading ones. Now, when it comes to the reading, you do want to pay close attention because it'll tell you in the instructions what text you're using, okay? Because remember, there's going to be 2 texts first. Okay, so the traditional way that you guys have probably been taught through the years is you're going to read the text in its entirety, then read each question, then read each answer carefully, consider each answer, and then you select the right one. Some of you have been taught to read the question first, but then go back and read the whole text. I kind of want you to throw that out the window because it is a 5-hour test with no breaks. When I say the selections are boring, I'm telling you as somebody who loves to read and will read literally anything. I even read scientific journals and things, and these are boring. It's like they literally scour the earth and say, could this put somebody to sleep? This is what we're going to use. Okay, so what ends up happening, as I've noticed with my students from the past, both ESL and regular students, is they'll start out strong and they're reading and they're answering and they're doing great. And then I look at, when I get their stuff back, I look and they start tanking it at the end, right? Because 5 hours, that's a lot. They start getting bored, they're tired, they start guessing. And so then they start losing a whole bunch of points at the end because they're just guessing, right? So I'm gonna teach you a way to get past that. Because remember, you also have to write a full essay on top of that. How many lines do you get for that essay? If you're handwriting, 26. There's a lot of you in here who are my ESL kids. You are online, okay? You have 1,750 words or characters that you can utilize, okay? So that's about equivalent to 26 lines, all right? So if you use a traditional way, it's gonna take longer and it makes you actually work harder. And I am definitely a person about working smarter, not harder. So let me show you the better way. These are gonna be your 6 strategies plus 1 tool, okay? So the strategies, what you're gonna do, the first 4 are the ones you're gonna use the entire time, okay? The 5 and 6 are kind of ones that you'll use off and on. So first, you're gonna read the question first, then you're gonna read all the answer options, you're gonna eliminate the wrong answers, and you're gonna select the best answer, okay? If you're struggling on a question, do not dwell on it, skip it and come back. Why do I say this? The more that you stare at a question, 1, you're wasting time, you're stressing yourself out, right? And a lot of times you're gonna start overthinking it. So what you'll do is you'll skip it and you'll come back because then sometimes you can use other questions as clues, right? Sometimes you're not quite sure what it's asking, but then the next question will actually clarify that one, all right? And then you have your dictionary as a tool. There's gonna be several times where it's gonna say, what does this word mean? What's the best way to replace this word? Use your dictionaries, right? My ESL student, you not only get a dictionary, but you can get a bilingual dictionary if you need it. So you just need to let them know, hey, I need a bilingual dictionary, but every student gets a dictionary. Use it to your advantage, right? There should be no reason that you ever get a question wrong that's about a definition, right? Because it's literally like you have the answer key right next to you, all right? So the strategy number 1, I'm gonna kind of go over it real quick with you and then I'm gonna show you in practice what it looks like, okay? So you're gonna read the question first. Even before you read the text, read the questions first. You're gonna determine what the question is actually asking. So a lot of times the best way to do that is to kind of rephrase the question in your head. What exactly is it asking? Then you're gonna identify if it's question specific, sentence specific, or paragraph specific. So question specific means everything I need to answer that question is already there in the question. Therefore, I do not need to go read the text, right? Because what I'm actually gonna show you is, especially when it comes to revision and editing, you don't need to read the entire text. You only need to read certain portions of it. The reading, sometimes you need to read the whole text or at least part of it. But if you don't have to read the whole text, don't read it. And I know that that sounds crazy coming from an English teacher telling you not to read the actual text. But again, they're boring and I need you to get through the test, right? And I need you to pass so that you can walk across the stage, all right? Sentence specific is sometimes you only need to go back and read 1 sentence in the whole text. Last year or the year before, there was one where you only had to read like 3 sentences of the whole text to answer any of the questions, okay? That saves a lot more time, right, than having it gone read the whole thing. And then paragraph specific, a lot of times you'll have to read the paragraph. Every once in a while, you will get a text specific, which means you have to read the whole text. Okay, read all the answer options. Always read the answer options right after you read the question. 1, it'll help you confirm what the question is asking. And 2, that's when you actually confirm if it's a question specific, sentence specific, and paragraph specific question. Sometimes it'll seem like a sentence specific because it'll say, go read sentence 6 and determine blah, blah, blah. But then when you read the question, you're gonna see, you don't even have to go read sentence 6. They give you everything right there, okay? And then you're gonna eliminate the wrong answers. With every multiple choice test you ever come across from here until eternity, there's always gonna be 2 that are at least obviously wrong that you can eliminate right off the bat, always. Get rid of them so that you can consider the other 2, okay? That way you're really just focusing in on the 2 that make the most sense, because then you're gonna choose the best answer. This is gonna help you with the STAR. This is gonna help you with the SAT, ACT, any test that you take. Choose the best answer. And what does that mean? Do all the parts connect within the answer itself? And does it truly answer the question in its entirety? Because there's gonna be one of those 2 options that kind of fits, but it doesn't perfectly fit. That's the one you're gonna want to go with, okay? So always analyze your question and answers, okay? If the best answer isn't clear to you, right? At this time, you have already read the question, you've eliminated 2 answers, you only have 2 left, and you're still struggling, that's when you're gonna skip it, okay? Because you don't want to sit there and overanalyze that. You don't want to stress yourself out. You can always come back. Again, you have 5 hours, right? So you can always just come back to it. And then that's when you can sometimes use the other questions that will help provide clarity, okay? There's gonna be a lot of times where you are taking a test and you're like, I have no idea what that means. And then you keep going and there's another question that's worded just a little bit differently, but asking the same thing, and it helps like, oh, okay, wait a minute, now I know what they're doing and I can go back, okay? Make sense? Pretty simple so far? All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk you through. I have 8 examples of the test taking strategies for the multiple choice, and I pulled them from both the English 1 and 2 stars. Why did I do that? I did it so that you can see it doesn't matter which test you're taking, these strategies work. And I'm telling you, I promise you they work. If you follow me on these strategies, if you follow my writing strategies, you will pass the star, okay? I have had students that I've pulled in for a 30-minute session and taught them these strategies and showed them real quick how to create a because statement for the thesis statement, and they end up passing when they have been failing it over and over again, okay? So please trust me, I put a lot of effort and time into researching these and making sure that they work. Okay, so again, we're gonna go over the first 4. So we're gonna read the question first, read all the answer options, eliminate the wrong answer, and then select the best answer. Again, these are the first 4 that you will always use. The other 2 you're gonna use when you're struggling, okay? So keep that in mind. So we're gonna put the strategies in practice. Example 1 is pulled from the 2019 English 1 star. So what's the first thing I do? Read the question. What is the most effective way to combine sentences 6 and 7? Does that seem like a sentence specific? Text specific? What? So, okay, so we're thinking sentence, right? So I'm gonna put that. So we think it's sentence. All right. But we're not gonna go look at that sentence yet, are we? No, what we're gonna do is we're gonna read the answers. My own sister is having a hard time in math attending one of the elementary schools that feeds into our high school. My own sister attends one of the elementary school that feeds into our high school, although she is having a hard time in math. My own sister who attends one of the elementary school that feeds into our high school is having a hard time in math. And my own sister attends one of the elementary school that feeds into our high school. She's having a hard time in math. Do I still think this is sentence specific? Do I really need to go to the text or read sentence 6 and 7?
No.
Why? Because it's actually a question specific, right? I have everything I need right here. Do I need to go look at the text? No. What is it really asking me? What's the most effective way? So what is the best way that I'm going to combine all this information to make a good sentence? So number 3 says to eliminate the 2 obviously wrong ones. Which ones do we think that those are? So you're going to want to read it to yourself, right? My own sister is having a hard time in math attending one of the elementary schools that feeds into our high school. Does that sound right? Huh? Okay, so somebody says D. My own sister attends one of the elementary schools that feeds into our high school. She is having a hard time in math. Okay, first of all, we see a comma here. What's a quick way to check if that comma is right? Yeah, flip it. She is having a hard time in math. My own sister attends one of the elementary schools that feeds into our high school. Does that make sense? No. Man, right? Because you're also going to want to use your flip it and delete it. Okay. Anybody else? So let's check out C, right? So what strategy are we using with this one? No, remember there's 2. So then we do delete it. Okay. My own sister is having a hard time in math. That makes sense, right? Let's read what's in it. Who attends one of the elementary schools that feeds into our high school? Well, that makes sense. That's additional information, right?
No, but that's not right.
It's not? I'd actually say that this might be one option that you could use because it's grammatically correct. Let's look at the other ones just to make sure, okay? So my own sister attends one of the elementary schools that feeds into our high school, although she is having a hard time in math. Do those two connect with each other? That information? Doesn't matter that she's having a hard time in math. It doesn't connect, right? One doesn't match with the other. So, all right, so we've eliminated these two. We've already looked at C and we know that grammatically it's correct. So let's see, my own sister is having a hard time in math attending one of the elementary schools that feeds into our high school. Does that make any sense?
No.
One, it sounds like a what?
Like,
A run-on, right? Think about it, like, my own sister's having a hard time in math attending one of the elementary schools that feeds into our high school. What does any of that have to do with each other? Nothing. So what's my answer?
is that a comma after school?
Not on this one, there's no commas in that.
No, just see.
On C? Yeah. So that's why you delete it, so comma, comma, right? I was able to take that out and it still makes sense, and then put that information in, okay? And it connects with each other. He's telling us his own sister's having a hard time in math, and she attends one of the schools that actually feeds into his high school, okay? Did I have to go read the text?
No.
How much time did I just say?
A bunch of stuff.
A bunch of time, yes, and that is actually the correct answer. Simple so far?
Yes.
Okay, now on the presentation that's actually here, I walk you pretty much step by step through each of it, okay? So the correct answer is C, okay? Let's look at example 2. This one is from the editing portion. Now, when we think about editing, what does editing mean? Fixing grammar. Most of the time it's fixing grammar. Revising is making it sound better, right? Making the best sentence, to where editing is always going to be when you're looking at stuff. So let's take a look at this one. So this is from the English 2. So what is the correct way to write sentence 5? So what does it seem like first? Sentence, question? Huh? At first, what does it seem like? A sentence, paragraph, text, specific? Just by reading the question. What is the correct way to write sentence 5? It sounds like a sentence one, right? But then what are we gonna do to, first of all, what's it asking me? Grammatically correct, all right? What is the grammatically correct way, okay?
You don't have to go.
Okay, so yeah, what do we do then? We read the actual answers. I pull gently at its crisp brown shell, the aroma of its gooey sweetness that teases my nostrils. As I pull gently at its crisp brown shell, the aroma of its gooey sweetness teases my nostrils. Pulling gently at its crisp brown shell, the aroma of its gooey sweetness teasing my nostrils. When I pull gently at its crisp brown shell, the aroma of the gooey sweetness teasing my nostrils. Do I need to go read that sentence in the text?
No.
No, this is actually a question specific. Everything I need is right here. Okay, so what's the next step? I eliminate, yeah, I eliminate 2. Okay, so which ones do we want to try to eliminate?
D.
You want to eliminate B?
D.
D, okay, so let's look at D. So this has a comma. What strategy can I use? Flip it. And the aroma of its gooey sweetness teasing my nostrils when I pull gently at its crisp brown shell. Does that make sense? No. Get rid of it. First of all, do we start with and?
No.
Oh, no.
And the aroma of its gooey sweetness teasing my nostrils when I pull gently at its crisp brown. No, right? It's all out of whack. Okay, what's another one? Well, let's just start from the beginning. I have my comma, so I can flip it, right?
Yeah.
The aroma of its gooey sweetness that teases my nostrils, I pull gently at its crisp brown shell. No sense, right? Get rid of that one. All right, B. Again, flip it. The aroma of its gooey sweetness teases my nostrils as I pull gently at its crisp brown shell. That sounds pretty good, right? So maybe, but again, we're going to choose the best answer. So let's make sure. The aroma of its gooey sweetness teases my nostrils, pulling gently at its crisp brown shell. Makes no sense. What's my answer?
B.
How hard was that?
Very.
Was very hard? How much time have we pretty much saved already though? How much time would you have wasted had you gone and read the entire text and then tried to answer these questions, right? Because normally these texts are at least 2 pages,
Yeah.
okay? So again, later tonight or later this week, because you guys take it on Thursdays, or those of you that are taking it tomorrow, I do walk you step by step. And again, B is correct, okay? I want you guys to have this even for the future so that you know how to use it, okay? So far, so good? Making sense? Yes, no, maybe so? Okay, all right. This one is from the reading portion, okay? Reading is normally gonna test your comprehension of something, and it's pulled from the English 2-star. Okay, so what do I do first?
Read the question.
Read the question. Lines 20 and 21 suggest that the reader. So what is the question asking me?
Go back to the.
Okay, so it does seem like it's gonna be sentence specific, right? And, but what is it asking you?
They said, what is the, so just a speaker?
So what's the speaker trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and read the options, okay? Wants to be honest about how little he understands the creative impulse, does not want to mislead his daughter into believing that she has special talent, is now willing to risk hurting his daughter's self-esteem by telling her the truth about her work, wants to admit his confusion about the sometimes stifling life choices that creative people make. Can I answer this without going and reading these 2 lines? No, this is sentence specific. Here's what I want to tell you though. You're only gonna go read those 2 lines. Do not try and go read the whole text, because what can happen sometimes is you're gonna go read it and that'll influence what you think about these 2 lines, right? What are they specifically asking you? What is he saying in lines 20 and 21? So let's go actually look at it. Okay. So it's really small, but this is what it looks like. It's a poem, okay? So we're only looking at lines 20 and 21. We're not gonna focus on anything else. Lines 20 and 21 state, and you never know why I was lying before when I said I knew. So what are these lines talking about? Not knowing why something is the way it is, right? Just from these 2 lines, and lying about that he knew before, right? So when you truly break it down, it's about honesty. Can you guys see that? Okay, right, that's pretty specific. And you never know why, so I don't know, right? And I was lying before when I said I knew. So I lied to you, right? I'm telling you now that I lied and I really don't know, okay? So now let's go on to strategy 3. Okay. So this one, I kind of help you out. I'm letting you know that this one and this one were wrong. It says, is now willing to risk hurting his daughter's self-esteem by telling her the truth about her work. Why is that wrong, automatically wrong? Yeah, it had nothing to do with self-esteem. It had nothing to do with her work, right? Wants to admit his confusion about sometimes stifling life choices that creative people make. Yeah, they didn't talk about anything about creativity, right? Didn't talk about anything about that, right? Or anything about being confused. He didn't say he's confused. Is he confused?
No.
No, he knows. It's perfectly clear that he does not know, right? So here's our 2 best options. Wants to be honest about how little he understands the creative impulse and does not want to mislead his daughter into believing that she has special talent. You think it's G? Why do you think it's F? Yeah, talks about being honest about how little he knows, right? And remember, because you want to make sure the best choice fits everything. So he might not be wanting to mislead, right? Because he's trying to be honest. But then is he talking about her talent? Yeah. So you're thinking of, see, you see where the whole text can mislead you? You're focusing only on lines 20 and 21. Your best answer is F. Make sense? So that's what you really want to, hey. Oh. Uh-huh. Yeah, go. Okay, perfect.
Okay,
Now we can do that.
so,
Awesome. I'll get that. And I was gonna go see her during second period too.
yay.
See
I'll see you later.
ya. Okay, so does that make sense now though? Do you see how it's important to really look at those best two options and focus and make sure that each part connects with what it's asking, okay? So. Well, we've already gone through 3 questions. Did we waste a lot of time on that?
No.
No, have we read anything completely?
No.
See? So. These are what I call text box questions, and I want you to be mindful of the text box because sometimes they can be tricky. And I'm going to show you how, because the next 4 are considered text box questions. And what I mean by text box is this right here. So what's the first step?
Read the question.
Read the question. Melody would like to add the following counter argument to her essay. Some students may say that they don't have enough time to participate in a mentoring program because of other activities in which they are involved. And it says, where is the best place for her to insert this sentence? Okay. So just based off of that, what kind of question is it? It's a sentence, right? But it's 4 separate sentences, right? So my options before sentence 5, before sentence 10, before sentence 13, before sentence 21. Okay, that confirms that this is a sentence specific, right? I can't just answer it off the top of my head. So how do you tackle these? Am I gonna go read the whole text?
No.
No, what it's asking me is to put this sentence before this sentence and see if they make sense, okay? So that means they're gonna have to what? Connect to each other, right? So let's go look at that. Okay. What's it asking? If you're gonna insert it, right? Which one makes the best sense? Okay. So I kind of help you out here too. So here's that sentence 5. So what we're gonna always do is we're gonna put this sentence before them, right? So some students may say that they don't have enough time to participate in a mentoring program because of other activities in which they are involved. With the mentoring program, these students could put their skills to use by helping younger students who are struggling academically. Why is that a wrong one? Do they connect to each other? No, right? This was talking about people not having enough time to participate. And then this one's saying, well, they can use their time to go help people. You see how that doesn't connect?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Some students may say that they don't have enough time to participate in a mentoring program because other activities in which they are involved. A mentoring program in which high school students tutor elementary school students could be a solution.
Not for sure.
But that also doesn't seem to work, right? So here's what's gonna happen is sometimes as you work your way down, you might actually eliminate more options than you really need. So we're gonna go ahead and say no to that one. Okay, some students may say that they don't have enough time to participate in a mentoring program because of other activities in which they are involved. Furthermore, volunteering seems to have a positive influence on high school mentors themselves.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, doesn't connect, right? 2 different things, time and then how they feel about themselves. So we can cross that out. So now we have our last option. We're gonna just make sure. Some students may say they don't have enough time to participate in a mentoring program because other activities in which they are involved. Fortunately, starting a program would require only a few students available and willing to help others. Does that make sense? Yeah, right. Here's a solution. Why does it work? Because even if there's a lot of people that don't have time, we don't need those people. We only need the people that do. Okay, so now we have our answer. Easy? You guys think you're gonna rock it?
Maybe.
All right. It really is that easy. Again, did I go read the whole text? Do I even know what the whole text is about? No, right? But the questions are telling me it might be about what? What kind of program? Mentoring program. Okay. So again, beware the text boxes, okay? That one worked because it's telling us to put that information in somewhere else. There are gonna be times when you only pay attention to what's in the text box. So this is from the reading portion of the English 1. It says, read this sentence from paragraph 2 of I Believe and Also Rans. As an English teenager, I was schooled in an elite school where I was fed the idea that I was better than others and that achievement and winning were all important. Which sentence from A Baseball School for Big League Dreamers contrasts this with this idea expressed in the sentence from I Believe and Also Rans? So is this a sentence specific, text specific, question? We think it's probably question, right? So let's make sure. Because then I go and I read my answers. You kind of just don't want to leave the field at the end of the night, he says. We are not sending the message that every one of our players is going to wind up playing shortstop for the Mets. Pollock, who has coached in the minors, the majors, and college, says his job is not always about baseball. And there's something else many of the coaches have given years to the game. So everything I need is here, right? It is question specific. So what was the question truly asking? It gave me a statement, and what is it asking me to do? Find a sentence that what? Yes, opposite, contrast, right? So we're only going to be paying attention to what's in this box. What is it saying in that box? As an English teenager, I was schooled in an elite school where I was fed the idea that I was better than others and that achievement was winning and were all important. Cocky, right? I'm better than, right? I am better than these people. I will do whatever I want. Okay, so out of these, we're going to eliminate at least 2. Which are 2 that you think we could eliminate? Huh? Jay? And there's something else. Many of the coaches have given years to the game. Why? Yeah, does it have anything to do with being better than? No, right? Because we're looking for the opposite of that. Okay, what's another one? Okay, you kind of just don't want to leave the field at the end of the game. Okay, that has absolutely nothing to do with anything, right? Okay, so now we're stuck with G and H. We are not sending the message that every one of our players are going to wind up playing shortstop for the Mets. And then Pollock, who has coached in the minors, the majors, and college, says his job is not always about baseball. Which one contrasts the idea of being the best, better than?
G, yeah.
G, right? Because this one is just about, there's something else out there, not just baseball. Well, does that have anything to do with that? No, it doesn't connect. Does this one connect? Yeah, because what's the Mets? The best, professionals, right? You have to be the best to be chosen for the professionals.
What is it, man?
And he's saying the Mets are a baseball team. Yeah.
I didn't know.
My baseball player did not know the Mets.
You actually did not do it.
I'm hoping not, because then I think I'm in the twilight zone. So,
But you failed.
so yeah, G.
She tells you for
I was about to say like, whoo, we have some issues. Okay, so yeah, G. Makes sense? You see how the text box is, if you had tried to go out and read anything else, that probably would have confused you, right? So you guys are right. Okay. Does it seem that hard? Oops.
No.
Okay. Example 5, another text box question. It's pulled from English 1. Oh. Okay. This is from the reading portion, and it says, read lines 15 and 16. He sanded down the finish, erasing the indentions of the letters and numbers he had etched over time. In line 16, the word etched most closely means. So what kind of question is this? Definitely question specific, right? It says to go read lines 15 and 16, but then it gave it to me. Am I gonna go look at anything else?
No.
No. So now I have my options: perfected, imprinted, remembered, tarnished. And I'm looking for what? What is a synonym? What closely means etched in this sentence? He sanded down the finish, erasing the indentions of the letters and numbers he had etched over time. First of all, what's a tool I could use? What's a tool I can use that's given to every single student?
Oh,
A dictionary and a highlighter, right? There are highlighters. A dictionary. Why? Because one, the dictionary is going to tell me what X means. And sometimes you'll also see that there are other words you can use, right? Synonyms. So we have perfected, imprinted, remembered, and tarnished. Which two can I automatically get rid of? Okay, perfected, right? Because that means to make more perfect. And then tarnished is to get old. So it says imprinted and remembered, okay? Now, there's a reason why these two can sometimes be a little tricky, because sometimes we etch things into our memory, right? But is that what we're trying to do? No. Okay, so if I'm making indentions with numbers and letters, what am I doing? Huh? Am I imprinting or am I remembering? I'm imprinting. Okay.
You said the other.
Remember, like we only use etch as remembering is if it's in our own mind. Okay. Or if he says, so he would not forget, he etched the numbers, right? So even then he's imprinting it so he can remember. Does that make sense? Okay. Does that make sense so far, guys?
No.
No? Yes? So we've already gone through 5 questions. Okay, number 7. This is from the 2019 English 2-star from the reading portion. So remember, I told you sometimes you're going to have 2 texts. Yes, you're going to have 2 texts. The reason you're doing that is because they're going to have questions that are specific to each text, and then there's going to be a set of questions that are about both texts combined, okay? Comparing. So the first thing we do is what? What do I do first? Read what? The question. So this question is pretty long, right? Read the quotations for the 2 selections. So this is to a daughter with artistic talent. And you never know why I was lying before when I said I knew. We already heard that before, haven't we?
Yes.
Okay. Then big fish. I don't know what makes a man great. I've never thought about it before. Okay. These quotes provide evidence that both the reader and to a daughter with artistic talent and the narrator in the excerpt Big Fish feel. So what's this question asking me? Huh? Huh? What is it asking me? The narrator in the excerpt from Big Fish feel. So both narrators or both speakers feel. What are they saying? What are they conveying, right? But is it asking for the whole text?
No.
No, you're only gonna want, this is where it can get tricky. You only want to read the text box, because if I was to go read both texts completely, that can change, right? Something, it can be very different from what's in here. It's asking specifically for these. So this is very much a question specific. Do you see how often you'll get question specific questions? Okay, now we're gonna read our options. As though they must prove something, embarrassed by their own ignorance, compelled to admit their mistakes, challenged to explain something difficult. Okay, so what are 2 that I think I could automatically get rid of? Okay, as though they must prove something? Yeah, because they're admitting they can't prove anything, right? They're both saying what? I don't know, right? I don't know. Okay, and then he's actually saying, I've never even thought about it before. And he's saying, well, I told you before I knew, but I don't know, right? What's another one? What's another one that we can get rid of?
Well, I think
J. Yeah.
To get rid of J?
Yeah, to get rid of it.
Challenge to explain something difficult.
Is that 8?
Why are they challenged?
Yeah, and they're not trying to explain.
Well, because they don't know, right?
But it says explain.
First of all, my question is, do they seem embarrassed?
Yes.
Do they seem embarrassed?
Oh, no.
And you never know why. I was lying before when I said I knew. I don't know what makes a man great. I never thought about it before. Is anybody embarrassed in that?
No.
No. Okay? So compelled to admit their mistakes and challenged to explain something. So remember, both halves have to match. Compelled to admit their mistakes. He admits a mistake, right? Does he?
It's not a mistake, he just don't know.
He just, yeah. He never even thought about it before. So it can't be a mistake.
Yeah, I just want that.
They're challenged because do they know? No, they don't know. When you don't know something, is that a challenge?
No.
If somebody's asking you a question, you're like, I don't know. That is a challenge, right? To explain something difficult,
But it hurts.
okay? Okay, all right, example 8. This is our last example, and it's a comparison question. Pulled from the reading portion of the English 2-star. Okay. What is a difference in how the two selections portray fathers? While the father in To a Daughter with Artistic Talent is optimistic, the father in excerpt from Big Fish is cynical. While the father in To a Daughter with Artistic Talent seems caring, the father in excerpt from Big Fish seems self-centered. While the father in To a Daughter with Artistic Talent is open-minded, the father in the excerpt from Big Fish is judgmental. While the father in To a Daughter with Artistic Talent seems defensive, the father in an excerpt from Big Fish seems relaxed. So what kind of question is this?
This question's are
This is a text question, okay? I'm gonna have to go, but here's where I want you to work smarter, not harder, okay? I'm gonna show you. It's asking you, what's the difference between the two fathers? So I'm gonna be paying close attention to the fathers themselves. So this is the text To a Daughter with an Artistic Talent. It's 30 lines, okay? The other text is almost 3 pages. Which one would I read first? The last one, right? Because what am I gonna be trying to figure out? Well, what is the father like in this one? Because when I figure that out from this one, then I can go eliminate some answers, right? Because I can look at just the dad, all right? So how are they portrayed differently? So he says, I know why getting up in the cold dawn, you paint cold yellow houses and silver trees. Look at those green birds, almost real, and that lonely child looking at those houses and trees. You paint the best way without reasoning to see what you feel, and green birds are what a child sees. Some gifts are not given. You are delivered to them, bound by chains of nerves and genes stronger than iron or steel, although unseen. You have painted every day for as long as I can remember, and I will be painting still when you read this. Some cold and distant December when the child is old and the trees no longer silver, but black fingers scratching that gray sky. And you never know why I was lying before when I said I knew. You never know the force that drives you wild to paint that sky, that bird flying, and is never satisfied today, but maybe tomorrow when the sky is a surreal sea in which you drown. I tell you this with love and pride and sorrow, my child, my artist child, while the birds change from the green to the blue to brown. So how is he feeling? What kind of dad is he? He is caring, right? Like he even says it, right? With love and pride. And this is something for her in the future on a dark day, right? Read this and know that you have this talent, right? So it's kind of like a refreshing kind of thing. So let's go back to my answers, right? So which two do I think that I could get rid of? Because I'm going to look just at the father from A Daughter to Artistic Talent. It says optimistic, caring, open-minded, defensive. Well, which one will we get rid of first?
Optimistic.
So what would you use if you needed that? Dictionary. Okay, optimistic seems hopeful.
That's wrong.
Defensive is definitely wrong, right? We can definitely get rid of defensive, right? And
I'll say it.
right, and then C, we can get rid of open-minded because it's not really about, he's not arguing anything, right? But he does seem optimistic about her future, right? She's gonna continue painting, and he definitely seems caring. So now which two are we looking at? A and B. So I'm gonna look at that. Cynical, what is cynical? You guys know what cynical means?
I know of it. I don't know that.
So you would look it up. Cynical means to have like a very like outlook, like it's a glass half empty type of person, never happy, always rah. Okay? And then self-centered. What is self-centered?
Think about himself.
Thinks about themselves. Okay, so we have cynical and self-centered. Those are our two options left. So now I'm gonna go look at the next text, but do I really need to read the whole text?
No, just find something
No,
else.
just parts of it. And I'm gonna make this easy for you. The whole, pretty much, as long as you read up to like about right here, like even half of it, he keeps saying I,
Self-centered.
right? When I was young, when I did this, I was this awesome, blah, 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 right? And he even says, I wanted to be a great man. So now I can say what? Which one is it? The self-centered. Did I really have to read all of that? The whole 3 pages? No, because in reality, by the time you get over here, you're like, oh, right? Which is not cynical. Yes. Huh? So those are 8 examples, pretty much of every single question type you're gonna get. Do you think you can get through them? How many texts did we read? We only really read 1.5, right? 1.5 out of 8 questions. So do you see how it saves you time? Right? It's conserving your energy because you want to write a good essay, right? So you want to conserve your time, but also do your best. And did you notice how there was a question that could have helped us with the one before about what he was talking about, right? Because what did it do? It actually offered something that said it was similar, a similar feeling. So you could have used that to go back and answer the other one. So you see how these strategies work? Okay, any questions?
No.
All right, I think you guys are gonna do well.